Mini Katana grew from 1,000 subscribers to 15 million in around 2 years, generating over $10 million per year. Their creative director at the time reveals the exact blueprint she used to blow up that channel.
And then secondly, if you can even push that concept closer to 50, 60 seconds and hold somebody's retention through that entire piece of media, that's when you really start to see virality.
And how she did it again for a brand new channel, hitting 50 million views per month in just 3 months.
It still took us 30 days of posting consistently for us to get that massive boost.
How do you guys go from 10K to 100K, 100K to a million, and then a million to 15 mil?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it is all about processes and being really good at short form media and trialing and erroring. It's really all about experimenting. So when I first joined, it was Isaac Medeiros, who's the amazing, amazing founder and CEO of Mini Katana. Everyone should go check out his Twitter because he's awesome. I joined when it was just him and I making TikToks in the warehouse.
So initially it was just both of you on the short form.
On the marketing side of things, it was him and I making TikToks on the warehouse. I actually moved out from Colorado all the way to Los Angeles to work for this katana business that had maybe less than 1 million followers on TikTok at the time. My parents thought I was absolutely crazy. And it started off with Isaac and I making TikToks in the warehouse and him teaching me all of the best retention and attention practices that come with short form. We'd seen a lot of success on TikTok and Meta, but plot twist, you can't run paid on Meta ads. So we were never able to scale because you can't run weapons as a Meta ad. So we had to double down on organic social media. That was one of the main reasons we got as good as we did at it. It was the only choice. There were no other options in order to scale this brand. So I first joined, Isaac and I were making TikToks in the warehouse. We discovered very quickly that was not going to be a long-term effective use of our time. There's just not enough hours in the day. And so I had just launched our influencer program, affiliate program, Mini Katana. And this amazing creator, I sent him a sword and he sent us back this video that just, Isaac and I went, holy moly, we need to get this guy to start creating content immediately for us. And so that for us was kind of our big step one, hiring a full-time content creator that we put on to salary 40 hours a week after seeing one single video because it was that awesome. And so that was the beginning of us scaling to a 15-person organic content team with 4 content creators, a couple editors, another strategist, community managers, that whole shtick, in addition to translating all of our content. So the beginning really started with hiring that first amazing creative that could take our vision and execute better on content than Isaac and I ever could.
Why not go with 100 UGC creator out there?
Ultimately, because UGC is something that everyone is doing. Social media nowadays is a place where people come to follow a story. It's all about storytelling, brand building. People want to follow aspiration. They don't want to follow a product. People want to follow founders, again, not products. And so one thing that just using UGC primarily does, it's an awesome use of customer testimonials. However, it makes you look like a brand. There's no consistency. There's no personality. There's no one core persona that you can point to and go, I want to be like Kelly from Mini Katana. And so by hiring a single content creator, you have a lot more control over the narrative and the storytelling that you're building. And it makes it a lot stronger because you have one persona that your audience can consistently relate back to.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And how do you find that in-house creator?
Right, this is the $1 million question that I'm still working on solving. Full transparency, my go-to with any brand that I work with is if you use Archive, this is a plug for them, I'm not sponsored, but if you use any sort of UGC collector of media, go through that and see what is your top performing organically and how many followers do those creators have. If you have somebody that's already bought into the brand and loves the mission and loves the product and is creating decent content, hire them. Hire them on a retainer. Ask them to create 20 videos for you and your brand and trial them. Start there because someone who's already invested and loves what you're doing, that will resonate and come off authentically in content, right? Start with your customer basis, right? Start small and then put up an Indeed LinkedIn posting.
That's actually how I see a lot of creators hiring anyone in their team, editors, designers, scriptwriters. It's people in their community because they know the brand, they know everything about it, they're passionate about it. And you'll find someone that's good at what you're looking for. And it seems that worked for you guys as well.
Right. People's bullshit meters are so ridiculously high. People are consuming Stephen He, who's the amazing content creator of Emotional Damage, for those who know that soundbite that is so incredibly popular. He mentioned, he spoke at VidCon this past season, and people can consume 300 pieces of short form media in a given hour. So if you're scrolling there on TikTok, watching videos, you can get through 300 pieces of media. You need to work so incredibly hard to stand out and to make sure that that piece of media is interesting and attention grabbing, that people's bullshit meters don't go off and they don't just go, nope, I don't want to listen to Duolingo tell me about this new product they just received. You really need to vie for people's attention because there's so much more content than there once was even 2 years ago on short form that you are competing against.
Do you think it's a lot harder these days to grow a brand than 2-3 years ago?
I would say that certainly it's with the rise of short form media. We started with TikTok, and if you were an early adopter of TikTok, you probably have 10, 15 million followers there now because you just were in the open ocean. No one was creating content, so everyone was consuming your content. YouTube Shorts was, I believe, the last short form media rolled out between TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And so certainly it has been there's been less content there over the last couple years in comparison to Instagram Reels or TikTok. And so when Mini Katana specifically hopped on YouTube, it was easy for us to crush. We had amazing media, but it was even more amazing in comparison to the rest of the content out there. However, it's still absolutely doable in 2024. I just scaled a channel to 250,000 subs in just 3 months or so. And so you can definitely still do it in 2024.
We'll get to that later. Yes.
It's just a little bit harder to do.
So going back, so you hire your first in-house content creator. You're around a few thousands of subscribers on YouTube. You're mostly on TikTok and Instagram. How do you then scale to 100K subs? And I'm assuming at that time, the company's making 7 figures at that time already, or not even?
Right, I think so. Yeah, we'd been around for a couple years at that point, and the majority of our leads had been coming from TikTok and Instagram. I think at that time we still had about 180,000 followers on Instagram, all organic, because again, we couldn't run any paid media, and then a little less than 1 million on TikTok. But certainly when we started posting on YouTube, full transparency, Richard, if we go back and look at the trajectory of Mini Katana on like Social Blade, you can see that when we started posting content that was optimized for YouTube in May of 2022, we actually jumped to about 100,000 subscribers overnight. It was ridiculous. We had good content, and all of a sudden we had taught the algorithm we were going to consistently produce 1 video a day and post it and optimize it using, no one likes SEO, but using some SEO terms. We put out a long form at the same time, and all of a sudden we were able to align with the correct audience on YouTube. And then it was kind of game over. And just posting consistently and pushing media to be better and better was really how we went from 0 to 100,000, and then 100,000 really through, a couple million ultimately, and just added on more and more content creators. After Kelly, our first content creator, had been with us for a couple months, we just started hiring in the same location. We found it so important to keep our creatives in the same place because their synergy and bouncing ideas back and forth was really what allowed us to level up the content and even take that a step further and create this moat of the power of Katana friendship, which was a really beautiful thing. And so we went from 1 content creator and then tripled down and hired another 2 at the same location.
How did you come up with that moat? Why did you think it was so important and led to, I guess, a lot of conversion?
Ultimately, going back to what people want to see on social media, they want to be entertained, they want to be educated. And then when you're selling a product, you want to promote an aspirational lifestyle. We sold anime katanas. And so your goal demographic is probably going to be that teenage boy that's watching anime, maybe a little bit younger, maybe you push into that Gen Z 21 to 24 space. But ultimately, especially in the anime space, there was such a cultural almost phenomenon where all of a sudden in like 2016, anime became cool. Anime all of a sudden took off, and being the weird anime kid that you would have been back in 2005 was all of a sudden the coolest thing you could possibly do. And some audience still had that sentiment. And so really selling the power of friendship and showcasing that the authentic relationship between our creators on camera was a little bit, it wasn't on full transparency, it wasn't intentional on the front end. We just needed more content, and we found an awesome creator in the same area, and we went, great, you guys can shoot together and make more awesome pieces of media. But it became very clear to us that having two people in the media, having interactions, having those relatable moments that people can go, wow, I could do that with my friends too, and we could go slice things out in the backyard for us, created this huge aspirational lifestyle for Mini Katana, which is, if you buy our katana, you will have as much fun as these content creators do in every single one of their videos.
Growing the content creators in-house and all that, then you mostly focused on YouTube, right? What was the percentage of conversion between Instagram, YouTube, TikTok? What did that look like?
Well, it's funny. It's funny because this is all coming back to me because we actually had a second moat. On TikTok, for the first multiple years of it existing, it had such strict community guidelines that actually, if you go back to before like 2022, end of 2022, I would say, we do not show the blade of the katana in any of the videos. Not a single one. We never unsheathed the sword. We never sliced anything on TikTok because that algorithm was so new that it was unable to determine, are they being dangerous with the weapon or are they not being dangerous? And so literally showing more than 3 inches of the blade would get the media taken down off of TikTok. And so we had actually created this really interesting moat for us on the front end of, we were the only people creating katana content in this creative way that didn't involve showing somebody slicing something or unsheathing the blade. And so for us, we decided to double down on YouTube in addition to like it just crushing, because they didn't have that issue. We were able to consistently slice things on YouTube and actually unsheath the blade and show that portion of the sword that we weren't able to do on Instagram and TikTok at the time. And so we went, oh my God, this is just so much better. And we've never had an issue subsequently on YouTube, never a community guideline. And we were able to actually show that side of the sword that we'd never done before. And so when I say we doubled down, all of our strategy went to, how do we make this piece of media go viral on YouTube was always our first and foremost goal. And then we would cross post to the other platforms. And it was simply a bonus if that media did well on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest. It didn't matter because it was optimized for YouTube, but good media performs well everywhere.
I like how you guys always try to find a solution at every roadblock. Like Facebook, you couldn't do Facebook ads. Then you're on TikTok, but then TikTok doesn't allow you to show the sword. So then you went all into YouTube, and it actually worked out pretty well.
Really well, I would say.
So I'm curious. You guys went full throttle on YouTube, right? Yep. What was the content strategy there? For example, you guys got 1 billion views on one short. How do you guys come up with the idea?
I mean, also, ultimately, our primary content strategy, we got really good at making things go viral. It turns out if you spend 10,000 hours producing content full time, like our creators did, they just got the sauce. But our first and foremost content strategy was product education. Product education provides value to the user. That's something that YouTube absolutely loves. And it's actually the highest converting type of content that exists out there because it showcases people, this is something you could own and this is why you should own it. Or this is something you could own and here's another additional how to display your katana, how to hold your katana, how to not stab your friend in the face with a katana, any of those good things. That is the highest converting style of content. Ultimately, from there, we spent about 80% of our time. So at our full throttle, we were doing 90 short form pieces of media a month. I think that's still where we're at. 80% of that was all with the purpose of going viral. Our goal with that media was never to sell the product, although it was an additional bonus if it did. We were still integrating katanas into every single piece of media, but 80% of that content The goal was for it to get as many views as humanly possible and to attract as many new viewers as possible. About 10% of our media was product focused. This was about drops. This is about product updates. This is about community culture, really to make sure people remember we are a business and you can purchase from us. And then we would include about another 10% of CTA style media, which is that call to action. Go to our website now, check out our Facebook page, like us on Instagram, share with us, subscribe, just to make sure we were driving people places we wanted to in about 10% of our media. And so that was the strategy ultimately, was we're creating media to be a media brand rather than to be a katana brand, and trying to go viral. You know, what is that? 80 of the videos out of the 90.
You say getting those shorts to go viral. I'm curious, what was your system to get those shorts to go viral? Like, how do you know prior how it'll go viral?
You spend, right? This is a horrible answer, and I'll give you a better one. But you spend the hours watching shorts. I reviewed every single piece of content that got put on Mini Katana until probably January of 2023. So you can imagine that's about 2,000 plus pieces of content that I was watching before we put it on social media that I was giving feedback to. And so you do get this sense of, is this going to be a 10 million view video? Is this going to be a 500,000 view video? Or is this going to be a 50 million view video? Very quickly, just by consuming good content. And so I would say to anyone who's trying to, how do I uncrack the code to go viral? Go scroll on YouTube Shorts and actively pay attention to, why are pieces of content performing well? And why do you have emotional reactions to certain pieces of the media? What questions do you still have once that piece of media has finished and has just restarted that loop? Because once you can just get this gut reaction of, I don't feel satisfied once this video is over, or I'm bored after watching 10 out of 15 seconds of this concept, you'll very quickly begin to have an understanding, this is gonna crush, this won't crush. But to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty, we were always looking at retention, right? Average view duration of, Patty Galloway has an awesome tweet that I think is still relevant in 2024. It's from 2023. You should be pushing for the maximum average view duration on every single short. It's a lot harder to convince somebody to watch an 11-second video twice than it is to convince somebody to watch 30 seconds out of 32 seconds of a video. And then secondly, if you can even push that concept closer to 50, 60 seconds and hold somebody's retention through that entire piece of media, that's when you really start to see virality. And so making sure every single concept was structured with a massive open loop of what is going to happen during the next 60 seconds of this video, and then constantly opening up teeny tiny little questions throughout the video, was how we were able to consistently get such high average view duration. And a great example of this, there was a video we put up, and it was my content creator rowing in a boat. And he had we have keychain mini katanas. And he photoshopped a shark fin at second 15 that popped out of the water and then went back in the water. We posted it, got like 10 million views on TikTok. Simply because everyone went to the comments and said, oh my God, did you see the shark? And so opening these loops that resonate with your audience and maximizing that average view duration to try to get people to watch it 200% of the time.
I'm curious, what separates a 5 million views shorts versus 50 million?
Ultimately, that's going to be total addressable market. That's going to be, right, a little bit different. You could have 100% retention and a 85% swipe through rate, which is the other really big short form piece I would recommend we touch on today. But if you are talking about, I don't know, Apple's AirPods, you are only talking to people who care about Apple products. Versus if you can talk about, you know, Charlie XCX or something broader, getting to know your parents and really try to attract a larger total addressable audience, something that more people can relate to. That's the difference between a 10 and a 50 million view video, is paying attention to the signal rather than the noise of metrics.
So yeah, you guys got a billion views on one short, which is insane, right? Do you know how you came up with the idea and why it did so well? Much more than anything else, really.
This is one thing that I hear a lot from people that are working in the long form space. Outliers. Look for concepts that have done really well in the past and figure out how to put your own unique spin on it and to provide more value than the person who previously made it. And so if we actually take a look at that video, some of you might go, I've seen something similar to this before. And if you look at the top performing YouTube videos of all time, Daniel LaBelle, one of the most amazing content creators out there, full transparency, we remixed styles of content. He has this amazing speed cleaning, speed running style video that has him sprinting around the house, cleaning things before his mom gets home. There's awesome tension of this has to happen before somebody pulls in the driveway. We took that and reframed that to our content house and went speed cleaning the studio before the boss arrives. And just created our own katana version of that absolutely crushed because it has the same principle and has the same viewer satisfaction that the Daniel LaBelle concept does. If you also look at Mr. Beast, he's done some really fun concepts similar called speed cleaning concepts. And it's all coming back to choosing that outlier and making sure that you can execute well on it.
You get those billions of views, right? But some of those shorts with lower views, I'm sure leads to higher conversions.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. I'm curious, what kind of shorts led to exponentially higher conversion rates?
Videos that were really truly focused around the product, focused on katana education, focused on directly selling the product were the videos that performed the best in terms of conversions. We ran an experiment. We had this awesome content creator, Fiction, slice a bullet with a katana. We put a discount code in the pinned comments and said, go check this out. Use this code for 20% off. Richard, guess how many conversions we got? Sorry, I neglected to mention 150 million view video.
It's either increasingly low or high, so I'll go with 25,000.
Zero.
Swords. Okay.
Zero conversions from that video because it was all about the stunt of slicing a bullet with the katana, not about the katana itself. And so videos similar to, here's how to display a katana, or we just released, or this is something coming soon, give people a little bit of the behind the scenes, draw the curtain from them and give them the VIP experience through your content regarding your product. Give them something to look forward to. Give them a reason to say, I want this color katana to come out next week, or I want this color to come out next week. And those videos will never get your 10 million view videos. Every once in a while, you'll get a random one that pops off, but you shouldn't expect it. But those are going to hit your core audience that's interested in actually purchasing. And those are so important to have on your channel in order to make sure people know you're actually a brand and they can purchase your product. And converting those low lift people, even if it's only 100,000 people.
What is the best CTA that you've seen working quite well at the end of a short that led to higher conversions?
Oh, I mean, I think it's about it's about the CTA, but also it is so much more than that. And I think a really good example of that is this brand that I'm working with, Sticki Rolls. They just launched in retail. And so we've created some new concepts around challenge style. First to find Sticki Rolls in X location wins. And at the end of that video, we go, and guess what? Sticki Rolls is also now available for you to purchase in Target, in Walmart, in Claire's. But what we've done throughout that entire video is set the location. You can purchase Sticki Rolls in Claire's because we're gonna go find them together. We've set an environment and a premise, even without saying it, this is gonna be available in Claire's. And that is leaning into the subtle entertainment, but also product space where subconsciously people have learned you can buy this now at Claire's. And then you throw in that final, and you can now also get this at the end of the video or in the middle if you're not trying to see a terrible drop off in retention at the end of the video, to make sure people have clearly understood, I can now go purchase this. Because there's nothing worse than a lackluster CTA that doesn't convert when the video gets 10 million views.
Yeah, that hurts.
It does. It really, really does.
I'm actually curious on the pinned comments. Did it hurt a lot the business when they removed links from pinned comments?
I was just talking about this. Yes, I mean, pinned comments were a total L for everyone in the e-commerce business who was working on YouTube. I think across the board, I think people saw like a 50% decrease in just sessions on the website if you relied on YouTube traffic. Thankfully, YouTube rolled out YouTube Shopping pretty soon after, so you were able to directly tag products in videos similar to that hyperlink. But I would even argue to this day that the pinned comment, people that were going to the comments were always going to have a higher likelihood of converting because they had spent the time to go to the comments and to engage with your community. Thing number two, that blue hyperlink is intriguing. What is behind that blue hyperlink? Where am I going to go when I click on it? When you present a product page in a video, people get to choose on a binary yes or no. I want to go explore this product, or I don't want to go check out this product on the website. And so even with, I would say most brands recovered using YouTube Shopping, but still conversion rates dropped significantly across the board. I think due to that lack of curiosity and that lack of product discovery, even once they implemented YouTube Shopping.
Interesting. So you guys were crushing on shorts. You went from a few thousand to over 10 million subs. What was the team like when you left?
Yes. So I think by the time that I finished my tenure at Mini Katana, I started as a content creator. By the end of it, I was the director of content over there. We had gone from Isaac and I being on the marketing team to having over 15 people on the marketing team, 4 full-time content creators, another strategist, social coordinators, I think 2 editors. We also at that point were doing language translation, which you can see there's a Mini Katana en Espagnol, Mini Katana en Français. And so we also then subsequently had secondary coordinators to make sure those channels were run seamlessly. So a 15-person-ish team, give or take.
Okay, 15-person running basically an 8-figure business. I'm curious, the other languages, would that bring the right ROI?
If you already have good content made, and if you know your content's going to crush and you'll be able to monetize your channels within 30 days, you can do a cost benefit analysis of my AdSense is actually going to recoup the costs of the process of translating. And so ultimately we did it for a brand awareness play, and to also potentially reach other markets, with our content, because there is currently, and I'm still waiting for YouTube to roll out their auto translation for shorts. But until that day, if you're trying to reach people in other countries, I see the best play being with retail distribution, and translating content if you have international retail distribution. But ultimately, I think we broke even or made a little bit of money on the channel. And I think the Mini Katana on Espanol has like 4 million subs.
You said you started as a content creator. I'm curious, how did you end up in that position? I'm sure a lot of viewers would be interested to join a small startup growing into what it is now.
Right. I mean, I think, hate to say it, be smart, right? I do, right? And you got to put in the time. Right, full transparency, when I was working at Mini Katana and just the way that I like rock and roll and run is, if you want to make an impact at a business, you will be spending more than 40 hours a week. Isaac is such an amazing, the founder of Mini Katana is such an amazing entrepreneur. He never feels satisfied even when the business is crushing. And that is such a beautiful mentality. The growth mentality is so good to have. It also means that you will consistently put in 60, 70 hours of work a week. And so it was a lot of hard work, and it was a lot of experimentation and also taking risks and having Isaac trust me with a lot of this team in building out elements of this. But pay attention to trends. If you want to do it, the first thing you can do is just start posting content, because you don't know what will go viral, and you can't learn from your mistakes until you're able to walk the walk and talk the talk and have a built out resume of, look, I've gone viral 10 times and I understand now how to do it.
I'm curious, what tools or software did you guys use to grow those short form?
I think the main software we used I love TubeBuddy. I know that's maybe an unpopular opinion, but I love TubeBuddy. We even were A/B testing titles for short form, which you can use doing TubeBuddy. Thumbnails obviously don't really exist up until, I don't know, YouTube just rolled something out about short thumbnails, but it's pretty insignificant. We would A/B test thumbnails and really use TubeBuddy just as is this a keyword or a space that makes sense for us to try to target? I've also personally, not to be a plug, but 1 of 10, I've absolutely used that working with clients to find concepts that just scrolling on shorts, because nothing is SEO optimized, you just have to spend time on the platform, kind of just going through the motions and figuring out how you can remix an idea and make it your own and put your own unique twist on everything.
Love to hear that.
I love 1 of 10 because it does. It cuts at least a couple hours out of my time. And you find new shorts that don't live in your little vortex of social media, because the algorithm is learning based on how you scroll. There's a chance I would never see a specific type of media just because I'm scrolling from my own personal For You page.
So guys, use pod24 in the code for 1 month free trial. Let's go. That was so running TikTok, Shorts, Instagram Reels. You saw any difference of what went viral on one versus the other?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Every single platform has its own priorities in terms of just how their algorithms function. YouTube, I see to lean so heavily on average view duration, right? Are you making those 50 to 60 second long videos? Is your hook, is that swipe through rate at minimum above 60%? If you want a viral video, it's got to be pushing above 75%. And so those were the 2 most important metrics that we paid attention to when going, why did this video rock or flop? On Instagram, if you listen to the CEO, he does such an awesome job talking through on like a daily basis what their priorities are. Shares and sends are Instagram's top priority right now. Watch time doesn't matter as much. Swipe through rate isn't actually a metric that they use in their analytic platform. They have consistently positioned themselves over the last couple months to be the DM, sharing with your core community creative ideas with other people is where they're positioning themselves. And so heavily relatable content, even 7-second long content on Instagram, absolutely crushes. And then TikTok really is such a younger demo. I know everyone's like, it's just Gen Alpha and Gen Z. I mean, there are older people there, but TikTok really seems to rely heavily on that unfiltered, raw, authentic, in the moment, I'm pulling out my phone, and doesn't like this structured side of YouTube that is, today we're gonna, try these 3 experiments, and then I'm gonna wait to hold the satisfaction till the end. TikTok wants authenticity. And so I would say we always made content for YouTube first because we were doing 500 million, 700 million. I think 1 month we did 1 billion views a month on YouTube. The max I ever saw us do on TikTok when I was like paying attention and actively managing that was 60 million views. And so good content will perform on all platforms. Good content transcends algorithms, but prioritizing YouTube as the strategy was most important for us. And that's why everyone should cross-post. If you're not cross-posting, that's a mistake.
Was TikTok or Instagram the higher in sales?
Honestly, I would say tracking organic metrics is horrific. For those who have spent any time in the e-com space, Triple Whale, Northbeam are some of the tracking software so many people use. We didn't use them. We tracked based on vibes, and you will see like a very distinctive correlation between views and sessions and growth on channels automatically. But ultimately we were looking, what are the aggregate views across all social media platforms? Maybe we're looking at link clicks and YouTube shopping, but ultimately we're going, views and sessions have a very direct correlation to each other. And then once the person gets to the website, it is the e-com's team job to make them convert.
So that was your time at Mini Katana, and then you just reused the same formula and grew another brand with Sticki Rolls, right? So I'm curious, at what stage did you start with Sticki Rolls, and how did you grow it to where it is now?
Yeah, we had 0 subscribers. We started just in May. We posted our first video, I think June 7th or so. And so I started with them in May and spent some time working with the content creators, sort of mapping out strategy. collecting that whole content library so we could consistently post once a day. But I think 170 million views later or so, and 90 posts, we're at 250K subs, which is really, really awesome and driving not only D2C sales, but retail sales, which is really, really exciting.
The sales are in seven figures.
Honestly, right now, the product just launched in August. The product just launched in August. Like, so seriously, this was a new thing to hit the market. And so they don't have enough sales data to say, like, to determine that, but they have sold out multiple times on Amazon and are currently the top selling SKU in Party City and in Claire's out nationwide. Which is ridiculous. For those who understand the retail side of things, I think Claire's has like 4,000 locations in the US.
Okay, that's like insane numbers, right? But what did you do when you came in? What was the strategy, the system you put in place to first push out content, and then sell out, like you said, in August, September?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, again, the same strategies apply, in my opinion. If you are trying to create content for YouTube, it has to be YouTube first content. And so 80% of our content was all about how can we make this video go viral. And Sticki Rolls is an amazing bracelet with stickers on it, which has this awesome transformation ability. You can cover your water bottle in stickers. You can cover your toilet in stickers. You can cover your house in stickers. And so that was our first format that we went, we're going to do that and make sure our hooks are interesting enough to go, today I'm going to cover my toilet in stickers because everyone wants me to. That would grab my attention. And then you just plug the product slowly. And so we focused 80% of our attention, actually probably closer to 90% of our attention on viral first media, and making sure that it was interesting and engaging enough to grab as many people's attention as possible. The other thing that was so important, and this kind of goes back to the power of friendship, but Sticki Rolls is geared towards sort of that tween, maybe a little younger girl set. And so we wanted the creators and the content style to be the style that when users were creating it, they would go, I want to be like the creators at Sticki Rolls. I want to live their aspirational lifestyle that they're presenting on the internet. And so making sure that these creators are authentic and having fun and showcasing real things in their lives. Like, today I'm going to go to Starbucks and get a pumpkin spice latte because my Sticki Roll told me to. That's a very real thing and an aspirational thing for a 6, 7, 10-year-old to be like, I want to do that too today. And that was so powerful with not only driving viewership, but actually driving people to want to buy the product. I said, people want to be like their idols. Everyone's trying to be Kim Kardashian. You know, that's just been a constant in society. People always look up to celebrities and go, how can I be thinner? How can I do X? You know, how can I live? Even the Hailey Bieber smoothie at Erewhon. How can I buy this smoothie to be more like Hailey Bieber? If you can create aspiration within content for your specific demo, that's your golden ticket to actually convert people from views.
I'm curious, you're targeting a younger age here with less purchasing power, right? How do you guys manage that to get those sales?
That's why the biggest play is retail. That is why this biggest play is retail. I think that these Sticki Rolls are probably like $4 or $5 or so. And so there is an element of an impulse purchase. You are able to impulse purchase a $5 item, which aligns well with people that have less purchasing power. But then thing number 2, we need to make sure we're appealing to parents. And so all content we create goes through the lens of, if mom saw this, would she say, fuck no, I'm getting you that? And I say that as a mom who was like, my mom was so granola. She never let me own Bratz dolls. If people in this space remember that. Barbies were okay, even though she wasn't the biggest fan of their, like, you know, their body brand image. But Bratz for a 10-year-old, absolutely not. You are not associating or trying to aspire to be a brat doll. That absolutely not. And so always making sure, think about who's purchasing, because all of our content, even the outfits, I would say, the topics we discuss, no one will ever curse in a piece of our media, because if it gets shown to mom, she's going to be the deciding factor on, do I buy this for Christmas or do I not buy this for Christmas?
Okay, you came in May, and they first launched their first product in August, right?
Mm-hmm.
So May, June, July, the plan was we're just going to push content as much as possible, put the name, the brand out there, get those views, get the exposure, and then after sell and hope for the best in 3 months. Was that the plan?
I mean, ultimately, so the creators, the founders of Sticki Rolls, they are seasoned they are seasoned in the toy industry. And so they have been in the space, I think, collectively for like 25 years or so. And so this product got announced, I think, back in March or so of 2024. And so it's been in production, it's been in development, all of those pieces, since even I think probably 2023, if not earlier. Really, with any YouTube channel or with any social media, don't ever rely on this is going to go viral just because I think it will. And so we wanted to make sure that we had built up enough time, a month to get a content library, to experiment, to go through the V2, V3, V4, V5 with creators to make sure we were nailing the persona we would carry through for the rest of the next couple months, next year, however long it works. Then starting to post and making sure that we start to see traction across all platforms. When I started with this brand, I told them we would get, maybe a few, right? The goal was to get a couple million views during the first month of launch. We ended up getting like 39 million views. So I was a little off in my predictions, but you always want to set the expectations reasonable with the client. And some channels get the bonus button, some of them don't. And so we wanted to give ourselves 60 days to make sure we hit that viral traction mark. And Richard, between you and I, what it ended by going viral earlier and not having product in store created FOMO.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Everyone was asking where to purchase. Everyone wanted to know where it was. And so it was strategic. Best case scenario, we blow up early, create massive FOMO. People are asking and then rushing to the stores once we launch. Worst case scenario, we're giving ourselves 60 days to get content going, to experiment, to make sure we are ready to launch in August with like top tier content.
What was the team like?
Currently, I mean, the team still exists, but it's right. I work with them part-time as a strategist. And then we have some part-time content creators. I think we have 3 or 4 of them right now, just because no one is able to commit full-time. And we have creators creating between like 2 to 6 videos a week, give or take.
Okay, all in-house creator as well there. I'm actually curious to see the most viewed shorts. Maybe we can deep dive into it. Like, how did you guys come up with the hook, the idea, all of it?
I mean, ideally, full transparency to everyone. Ideally, once you start making content and hire creators, your job as the strategist should be leading strategy, not leading individual concepts. And so with any creatives and creatives I work with, my expectation is you need to come to our weekly meetings with 6 concepts you're planning on filming this week. And I want what your hook is, and I want a quick overview of what your concept looks like so we can determine as a team, is this going to rock or is this going to not perform as well? And so this creator, just to break down this concept with everyone, brought this Stitch concept. These glitter dumplings were going incredibly viral with the community we were trying to hit, with the demographic we were trying to hit.
Everyone is trying to find these rare glitter dumplings at the moment.
And so we went, let's use that viral hook we know currently already is working with our core demo and actually position this to be, I found something better than these glitter dumplings that all of you individuals are after. I have something you don't know about and you should learn more about it. And so it starts with trend jumping, green screening, multiple pieces of movement on screen. Also, the woman's scream in this video of just yelling about this dumpling is very scroll stopping. I'm assuming the original video we stitched probably had 50 million plus views. And so why not use that same hook and put your own twist on it to make it effective for your own content model? And so we took very powerful hook and premise of I know something you don't that's going to make you excited, and then did a standard product plug and play where we went, this is our Sticki Rolls book. This is how you use it. and then holding retention just through narration and through movement and through value by the end of it. And so this video, right, I think it's done 20 million views or something, is a fantastic example of this video's goal was to be viral and also just sells product subsequently. And you can fuse the two of them beautifully. You just got to be creative about it.
I'm curious, talking about the retention, what did that look like?
I think retention absolutely crushed on this one. I was like 30-second video, 25 seconds, 85% retention. Not actually horrible, not great. If we come over here though and take a look at reach, even 27 million shown in feeds later, this video still has an 82.2% swipe through rate, which is bonkers, right? In my opinion, again, if you're pushing over 80, you're super, super solid. Actually, if you're pushing over 70, you're in the green, but above 80 is looking incredibly exceptional. This is where I talk about, look at signals, not noise. The glitter dumpling phenomenon actually transcended the virality of this video. Glitter dumplings were such a hot topic at the time that even just trend jumping onto that caused an 82.2% swipe through rate. And so even though this concept is slightly shorter than I would recommend most to be, right, 30 seconds rather than verging closer to that 60-second mark, this video still is interesting enough to is interesting enough to a large total addressable market that grabs 8 out of 10 people's attention, which is pretty remarkable when you've been shown to 22 million people. But this has a beautiful 85.7% retention. And you can see pretty flat line here. So you can see it still took this channel, and I want to make this so clear to everyone, it still took us 30 days of posting consistently for us to get that massive boost.
During that time, daily posts.
Yeah. We were still posting once a day. This is all of, actually, if we come and look at just June as a month, you can see that we were posting consistently, but it actually took 15 posts of us posting before we got this big break that kind of started this viral trend for us. And so even when you have a 500,000 million view video, you need to teach the algorithm who you're supposed to be targeting and that it can expect you to produce media consistently. And so if anyone's starting a new channel on Shorts, post once a day, but still give it 30 days before you decide whether you should quit it or not, because it will take 30 days for a channel to blow up, period. But this is, right, 41 million views in the first 30 days.
Do you know which video popped off? Any reason one popped?
It was kind of just full transparency. It was a collective movement where all of the concepts, even if we take a look, so you can see that one video, right? Let's take a look. Better Than the Mystery Dumpling actually was the first video to really push and pop off on the channel. But all of the content, the first content through the first 30 days of posting and views in the first 30 days of posting, there was one video that led the charge with 14 million views during that time, but every single video subsequently still had awesome view potential. It just needed 15 days to officially take off, right? I Let a Sticker Control My Life for 24 hours was only getting 121 views here, 10,000 views here, 245 views here, but after a little bit of traction across the board, this did 5 million views in the first 30 days. And if we come and take a look at the entire channel, you will very quickly see that even our starting content, wow, you can see the 1 of 10 outlier functionality, everyone. Even our beginning content, 733,000 views, 1.1 million. 789,000 views. Still, all of the content was good content. It just took 2 weeks to pop off.
I'm curious, with all those views, how do you funnel it to the product without the pinned comment? Is it with YouTube Shop or?
We actually haven't even done YouTube shopping on this yet, just because we genuinely haven't needed to. If you take a look at the Google Trends of the search term Sticki Rolls, if you are investing in organic short form or organic media period, make sure your SEO game is also on point, because people will, if you're getting 160 million views, people are going to Google you after, and you want to make sure you're the first company that pops up when they Google Sticki Rolls. And so we actually weren't using any direct links outside of the link in bio to push people to sites, outside of a few CTAs here and there throughout concepts like, we just dropped this on Amazon so you can shop now. But that was really the primary function of the D2C space. I mentioned we have launched in multiple retail locations. And so this 8.5 million view video starts off with, whoever can find Sticki Rolls in Party City wins $100. And these awesome creators spend the next 60 seconds or so running around Party City searching for Sticki Rolls, with the final conclusion being, we found it. And that has made these style concepts were enough to communicate to people, oh my God, you guys are now in Party City. You guys are now in Claire's, which is really, really awesome. And always the other thing is making sure you have a strong community manager. If somebody asks you where to get your product, tell them in the comments. Because if someone is spending the time to ask, their likelihood of converting down the line is infinitely higher. And so we have a community manager working on this channel full time, and she spends at least an hour or two of her day every single workday responding to people and engaging and making them feel valuable, because your audience on YouTube is the most important thing.
So you blew up a few brands already through shorts. If you had it to do it all over again, a brand comes to you, what would you do to grow that brand to zero to basically millions of dollars using viral shorts?
I think ultimately you really need to define through chit-chatting with the brand, chit-chatting with people who like the product, really spending time on who are you trying to reach with content and what style content do they consume naturally. Because if you come on and start making ad style content, product style content, that will never ever resonate with the intended audience. You need to put yourself in the shoes of, I am somebody who wants to purchase Sticki Rolls. I am somebody who wants to purchase this water bottle. What do they care about? What niches, what hobbies, what value do they get from media? Because ultimately, people want to be entertained on any of these social media platforms. They don't come to be sold to. If you want to be sold to, you go to a mall to go shop. If you want to be sold to, you go to Amazon to click around and buy some random $10 item that you probably didn't need in your home. People come to YouTube and to Instagram and to TikTok to be entertained. And so your job as a brand, and the first thing I always do is, yes, of course we're going to do product education. Of course we're going to do, some testimonials and stuff. Of course we're going to showcase how this product works. But genuinely, what style content is your consumer watching? And so I haven't done work for them, but I look at Hexclad, for example, and I go, of course, there are so many different things you could do with a pan, but recipes are a built-in value. People love to watch recipes. People love to consume transformations, which recipes literally have built into them, because it's a start with ingredients, turn into something beautiful and delicious and amazing. And so for me, the value of providing a recipe that somebody could cook at home would be my immediate response to, what should I do as Hexclad with my content formula? I would say, make some really viral recipes. Make Tonghulu. For those who don't know, that was a massive trending thing this past summer. It's this awesome Asian candy of fruit, and then it's just rolled in hot melted sugar, and then it kind of gets this crystal coating or so. That has millions and millions views on YouTube right now. People are so interested in Tonghulu. The first thing I would have pitched to Hexclad is, have a creator make some Tonghulu in your pan, and make sure they are showcasing how awesome, and using very small words like, look at how non-stick this is. And wow, look at this fun pattern, like little small product features, but the value of that media is Now I know how to watch Tong Hulu, and I was entertained the entire time. And that's a brand value I can get behind as a user who cares about cooking videos.
Are there other brands that you thought their short strategy was smart?
Oh my gosh, there are so many brands that I think I actually just came up with a whole list a couple days ago. Peachy Babies is a slime business in the space that is absolutely amazing. Midday Squares is an amazing example of a Reese's peanut butter cup alternative, and they've painted themselves as the underdog. There's another awesome short form brand. I think it's called Boss Air Horn, and it's literally a air horn controlled by a remote. They've scaled to 1 million subscribers with prank style videos, and it's all short form.
I know him, actually. It's funny. Okay.
Right, Alex, he's awesome, right? He's so brilliant. I love using him as an example because he took the prank style, little bit almost childish, very relatable and large total addressable market, because he leaned into the physical comedy. And if you watch his content, there's no words most of the time because language is a barrier. So if you have voiceover content in English, your primary audience will be English speakers, versus if you can lean into physical comedy, that applies to everyone because it's universal. He has crushed with these surprise challenge prank style videos, and it's such a good use case for someone who would potentially want to buy this. It's a transformation of how this can better your life in a fun, entertaining way. Check out Smashed. They're a non-alcoholic mixed drink that they branded themselves this past summer as the best marketing strategist everywhere. Their CMO was a meme marketer. I did some research on them. And so he created this story time of an intern versus his boss. And this intern, this girl, had 60 days to prove to her boss that her marketing strategy was more effective than his. And so she went in smashed cans. That was the strategy, but it was built into this beautiful storytelling of proving to my boss smashing cans is more effective than his entire marketing strategy. Got this whole underdog community behind her. They scaled to 500,000 followers on Instagram in just 60 days using that power. Also, a couple more, the attention seeker, for those who actually are on the agency and not physical product side of things. This is an awesome TikTok account that I think has grown to about 800,000 subs. They also actually are an organic content marketing team, and it's all about the office culture. And it's about pranking each other. And it's about this girl and her boss create these challenges of, if I get to 1 million subs, you have to get a tattoo of me on your leg. But if I don't reach 1 million subs, I have to work for you for the rest of my life. And it's done in this very fun millennial style marketing that would connect with other marketers in the space and people that are working corporate 9 to 5. So love them. And then everyone should check out We're Not Really Strangers. Their TikTok strategy, they have 5.8 million subs there. So good, so shareable, so repeatable. I think that that's where they drive the majority of their traffic.
So you have all this knowledge. What brand would you start today that you think is easy to make viral using shorts?
Oh God, I'm not a product developer. I would say that you, in your ideal world, you want a product that can show transformation physically, right? Something that has a use case in multiple different ways. Swords, you can slice. You can slice infinite number of things with swords. With sticky rolls, you can sticky roll an infinite number of things. With slime, you can create an infinite different types of slime, or add infinite different things to slime. You need some product that is visually interesting and also has a repeatable format attached to it. And so I would argue that creating content around red light therapy, for example, is difficult because the only way to show transformation of that is a 6-month transformation, which you could do. And I would say that would be my first content suggestion for anyone in the red light therapy business. But that can only be done so many times until that begins to feel boring. Because how many different ways can you slice a single person's transformation unless you're doing UGC? And so focusing on things that can provide value by themselves and that have visual characteristics that you can create repeatable formats around. And I like low AOVs. It's not the end of the world if you can't do that, but people are way more likely to convert with a lower average order value than trying to ask somebody to impulse purchase a $120 item.
Yeah, I love the transformation part. I think a lot of people would not have thought of that. So you've recently started working with the co-founder of Jubilee. Curious if you can talk more about that. What are you doing in the DTC/short form world?
I'm just having the best time. No, I have just started as a full-time strategist for a agency called Snowball. And our entire shtick is, one, we want to be an agency that's fired in 12 months, but two, we want to get you to 1 billion views on YouTube. My background, I have come in as a senior short form strategist who is helping businesses harness short form both on YouTube and also on other platforms, and creating these formulas, hiring these creators, and teaching them some of this knowledge I've gained over the last 3-4 years working in this space. But then the really cool thing about this is that Ryan has a background on long form media. As working with the Jubilee team, for those who don't know, it's an amazing 9 million sub, has just absolutely harnessed the power of formulaic, repeatable long form to, I think they scaled this media business to maybe $50 million, if not more at this point. I think I read that at somewhere. And so we're combining long form powers and short form powers with the goal of, how do we create you a community? How do we create you a platform that will withstand the test of time 5-10 years down the road? We want to teach you and your team and help you hire to create a behemoth of a machine that you ideally are relying on, never from an AdSense perspective, but is genuinely driving more than hopefully your ad spend is on Facebook or Google within the next year, 2 years, and investing into that long-term community building play. And so I recently just joined the team full time. I am over the moon because all of these strategists are so brilliant at what they do. And so we're taking organic short form media, specifically YouTube, and bringing it to the D2C world, to the B2B world. We're working with software companies, products, all of the above.
Any differences you see between a software versus a retail type product?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. One thing I have found is that if you are trying to communicate to businesses or entrepreneurs, you are not necessarily trying to promote an aspirational lifestyle or a transformation. You're trying to promote acceleration. Two very similar words, but two very important different things. You want to sell someone, how can you do this bigger, better, and faster? How can you become a thought leader in the space of whatever, your environment, whatever your company specifically revolves around? And so selling acceleration rather than transformation and lifestyle are two different ways to go about content, but you can slice content infinite number of ways, which is pretty awesome.
What's one piece of advice you would give someone starting a YouTube channel today who wants to grow really quickly?
My advice, if you want to start growing really quickly, there's one, you just have to start posting. That's everyone says it, just start posting. Doesn't matter if it's perfect, doesn't matter if you think it's the best piece of media in the world, just get it up there. And then most importantly, actually I have two other ones, right? Number two, make sure you're experimenting, especially within the first 30 days. If you are not seasoned in this space, your job is to experiment and to not bang your head against the wall trying the exact same talking to camera style you've tried in the last 27 videos. It's not working. Try something new. Provide a different value. And so making right definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Don't do that on YouTube. So constantly be experimenting, because the algorithms are always changing, which means your content in in tandem always needs to be shifting. And so making sure you're trialing new things and always pushing bounds of what works, what doesn't is most important. And then number 3, last thing, pay attention to your idols. Scroll actively on social media. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing ever goes viral for a random reason, except for maybe the chocolate strawberries that have like billions of views on TikTok. But nothing ever goes viral for no reason. And so study what Mr. Beast does. You may not like him. You may not actually consume that content in your own personal time, but he has spent hundreds of thousands of hours working with consultants, watching videos, and doing that work so you don't have to. And so do what the experts are doing because they're doing something correctly. You don't always need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to provide a value and a unique value that people want to relate to.
Yeah, what you said about there's a reason videos outperform. That's the reason we built 1 of 10, basically. Like for all of those outliers, there's a reason it did well. So it's studying there and then remix it into your own style.
100%.
And lastly, my favorite question, you're crushing it, you're killing it. So I'm curious, what's your dream?
Damn, what a good ending question. Right, I think in the short term, full transparency, the short term is I just want to be a YouTube nerd and I want to learn and grow so much with this community. I see the value, and really, actually, this is short term and long term. I feel so privileged that I have gotten to experience what massive virality truly feels and looks like. You get to a point where 100 million views doesn't faze you, and that's a crazy thing to say. But on the flip side, I have also seen how 100 million views can generate millions of dollars in turn. And that's one thing in the creator economy. I still feel like there's so much room for growth. I feel like creators struggle with how to monetize. Brands don't know how to create short form first or organic first social media. And so my dream is to continue to help bridge the gap between those two and ultimately provide value to the creator economy before everyone else gets to it, because YouTube really is the new Hollywood. It's a little terrifying, but give it 3-5 years down the line, everyone is going to be here asking how all of us that are listening to this podcast, how did you do it? And how did you know to do it back in 2024? My goal is to be the person that goes, yeah. And now we're doing this because now we're trying something new, because the same thing is going to happen in 5 years. And so my goal is to continue to stay kind of at the leading forefront of what are we doing on YouTube and continue to learn from all of the experts like yourself, Richard, that are creating the tools and creating the space for all of us to learn together and to help each other grow.
Love that dream. I mean, that's why we're doing the 1 of 10 podcast, to understand the game of YouTube. Well, Noelle, thanks for joining us on the 1 of 10 podcast. There's a lot of value here. And yeah.
Hopefully.
Yes. And yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you. So fun seeing you again. And we'll have to do it again soon. Come out to LA. It'll be really fun.
Guys, click on this link to check out other episodes. Peace.